Manic and Chill. We are back at you for this evening. Welcome in, everybody. This is Manic and Chill. If you're not familiar with the show, every Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, Shane and I just talking about what is on our Dynasty mind. Welcome into our members that are in here joining us and everybody that is joining us on YouTube. Our community, if you want to be a part of it, we have these conversations multiple times a day, all throughout the week, during games, during the morning drives, during the afternoon community chats, everything you could think of. ddfantasyfootball.com or patreon.com/allgas gets you in the community, and the website gets you access to the Trinity tool, which we might show tonight. Shout out to Dynasty Daddy in the house. We're going to use Dynasty Daddy to talk about tonight's theme, Shane, which is fight or flight. 3 weeks into the season, there's already teams you're wondering, what do I do? Whether you're 2-1 and definitely should not be 2-1, or you're 1-2 and 0-3, and you're wondering, is this really going to be a year I have to tank when I thought I was going to be a top 14? So welcome in, Shane. How are you?
I'm good, man. You left out teams where you might be 0-6 because there are leagues that you play against a median. And what's good about those is it feels really, really easy to get back in it with a couple wins in a row. But it also feels like the world's crashing down on your league when you lose 2 games in a row and you don't beat the median, because all of a sudden you go from, 4 wins to 0-4, and 0-4 feels a lot different than 4-0, even though it's really only 2-0. So that, this is fun. Obviously we all have leagues where we probably know better and we should probably pack it in, but we won't. And that's kind of one of the exercises I wanted to go through tonight.
Yeah, so we're going to go through 3 of my teams and 3 of Shane's teams. We're just going to kind of talk about, should we panic? Should we continue to push? What are some of the factors that we think about when making that decision? Obviously, we both have quite a few teams, so I know I never really look at it like I have to have a team win. If I have to take it in the other direction because that's the right thing to do, we'll do it. It's never going to be like, oh my gosh, every team has to contend. Otherwise, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. So we'll talk about that. I didn't say anything about roster reviews, but next week we're going to do a live roster review for a listener or subscriber, or really somebody that buys a roster review. We sold 3 since last week, but we already did those. So we need more for the live review next week. So ddfantasyfootball.com, if you want to get a roster review, we'll pick the ones that we have not recorded or met with the person already, and we'll do it live on the show. So literally just like we would if it was Shane and I, we'll just do it live so everybody can see the process. It's pretty cool just to see like the analysis that we use. We sometimes fight. We sometimes go in directions that are opposite from each other, but I think that's what people pay for. So if you want to buy one, ddfantasyfootball.com, or you can scan the QR code on the screen and it will get you to the link to purchase the roster review. So Shane, let's just start with this. Have you had any leagues where you see on Sundays or Mondays that you're getting crushed, but then you have to go and check league to see if the median is just under what your score is, to see if you're going to go 1-1? And you're like, I'm at 178, but the median's 165. I'm feeling good, right? I'm not, even though I got beat in my head-to-head matchup, it's nice to see that score just above the median. And some, man, I've seen super close. It's like 210 and the median's like 209. And I'm like, whoa, I'm either going to go 0-2 or I'm going to go 2-0. And it's a matter of like 1 catch or 1 touchdown or something like that. I'm sure you've had some of those sweats. Yeah.
Yeah. I had, Amon-Ra beat me by 4 points on, was that Monday night, whenever the Ravens lost and they stopped handing the ball off to Derrick Henry, and I lost to the median by like a point. So that's always fun when you're winning and then you look up and you've lost both weeks, both games. So that's always heartbreaking.
Yeah. And I see this question from Jackson Tribe. What's the point of the median? It really just kind of spreads out the variance of head-to-head. I mean, how many leagues in here, people watching this show, do your sleeper leagues actually map out what the schedule is going to be? I don't think any of mine do that. You just hit generate schedule, and that's what it is. You're not looking at like, oh, should I play a harder schedule if I was a good team, or a worse schedule if I was a bad team? I'm in leagues where there's divisions. There's no rhyme or reason to how the schedule is set up. So the median just kind of balances that out so that the head-to-head variance of I played the worst team twice instead of playing them once works out to where you just have extra results to throw in there. So that's why the median's good. I like leagues where there's double headers and a median. And you can't do that on Sleeper.
Games.
Yeah, but you'd have 3
Okay.
games. So you basically get 2 shots at playing different teams, and you get to play the median. So everybody goes 3-0, 0-3, etc. So
before we jump into this, look, Janikowski loves the median. I'll say this. I was a person that didn't play in a lot of median leagues until the last probably 3 or 4 years. And now I hate leagues. I don't hate them, but every time I see a league where I'm like 2-1 or 3-0 or 0-3, it feels wrong to me. It just feels like there's not enough games, especially in the leagues you're good in, right? For some reason, even though you know in your brain that you're really 3-0, seeing that 6-0, well, it's not true. Seeing that 6-0 feels a lot better than seeing that 3-0. Because if you beat the median every week, then you're really, really doing well. So just to that point, like Squid, I'm 6-0 in one league and have beaten the median by 12 points combined for 3 weeks. I'm 6th in total points. That's obviously one of the other things you look at when you're looking at your record right now. You're looking at what's my points for and what's my points against. I've got a couple leagues, same deal, where I'm 6th and I look at the points against and I go, oh, I'm 12th in points against. Points for, I'm 9th. Maybe a fraud, maybe I've had some bad luck, but that's also some of the stuff that you should look at, not just your record.
Yeah, it makes Jankowski just said it. It makes the real close head-to-head matchups where you were the 3rd highest scorer and you lost to the top scorer in the week. You're going to go 1-1. It's not going to hurt the 0-1 is not going to hurt as much when you still scored top 4 points. So it makes the results, I think, a little more true. If you are a good team, you probably have a better shot of finishing where you should when you have that extra game. And it just takes away some of the head-to-head variance. So let's move on from the median. Before we get into our teams, fight or flight, what does that mean to you? Like, obviously, it's something that we all deal with, but when it comes to fantasy football, like, what does that term mean to you? Is it looking at players? Is it looking at situations? Is it looking at your teams, the market? Like, what comes to your mind when I say fight or flight in Dynasty?
I'm immediately thinking of my teams, because there's multiple teams, but we can say it in the singular sense for folks that only play in like one league. Although I don't think many people that listen to us play in just one league. They're probably mostly degenerates like us. But that's the first thing I think of is me looking at my leagues or looking at my teams every week and going, all right, should I pack it in on this one? Right. Because there's, you go into the season with different buckets. You have teams that you're not competing, right? So you're just bottoming out. There's nothing to look at, really. You get a win or two in those, it's a little disappointing. Probably should have grabbed one of those teams. And then you're favored to win again the next week, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm trying to bottom out. I'm really not built for this. Like, can I stop winning? But more to the point of like where the team's at between that 4 and 8 range, right? Usually, but this early, it could even be a team that's sitting in 9th place, that just had some bad breaks. That just has a Brian Thomas Jr., CeeDee Lamb, something like that, Jamar Chase, where you thought you were built to win, and because of whatever has happened, the team might be good and it has a lot of dynasty value that you're just not winning. So to me, what I'm looking at, I'm being specific to the actual teams, fight or flight. Players, look, the season winds up so much. It's a roller coaster of emotion. I never give up on a player, I don't think, or at least I shouldn't, is probably what I've learned, is I probably shouldn't give up on any players in season, especially 3 weeks in. Just listening to some of the conversation around Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. I know they're on the same team. But that was the same conversations we were having around Caleb Williams 2 weeks ago, who's now the QB7, something like that, in points per game. So I do look at players, but that is not that's more of a roller coaster ride that's outside of my control. So I try not to give up on players too soon.
So talk about like tiers of players too, because I'm thinking of, you got to look at each position a little differently, right? Like quarterbacks, we already kind of knew what the quarterback landscape looked like going into the year. I'm not panicking if a guy is quarterback 18 and not quarterback 8, because I still think the ranges of outcomes for that group of players is similar. Now, obviously, there's been some situations that you look at and you're like, man, I want every piece of that offense or every piece of that situation. And then there's others that you don't. But when it comes to like dynasty value, and then we're talking about non-elite players. So like, I'm not talking about like you can honestly argue right now that between Jamar Chase, Malik Neighbors, CeeDee Lamb, and Justin Jefferson, not a single one of them will finish in the top 5 this year. That's not a hot take, right? They're all in either bad situations or they're injured or they're both or their quarterback's out or their offense just looks like shit and you don't really want the pieces in the offense except for the elite guy, and the elite guy's probably not going to finish where Puka Nacua is right now. But that's not necessarily something that I'm flighting from. You know what I mean? Now, my question is, what about players that we've already accepted are not in the elite range, but it also appears they're in line for just a stink season? Like they're a wide receiver 2, but their situation says they're now going to be a wide receiver 3 or 4 this year. What do you do on those types of players, especially when they hold value? And I get it. There's guys that they still have dynasty value, but dynasty value also points beget dynasty value, right? Like players that have a leash because of what they could be, it doesn't last forever. So at what point do you start taking some of those players? I'll give the best example that we've talked about the last couple of days. I mean, what about Marvin Harrison, Shane?
Gone.
Like, well, no, but like gone. A lot. Yeah. You say gone, but he's gone. Yeah. His price is now 50% what it was to start the season. You can get 2 seconds and a RB2. Are you trading him?
Yeah. RB2. Give me a name.
I'll give you JCM in 2 seconds.
No.
I'll give you. I'm trying to think of a good one that kind of fits.
Well, you know what? While you're going through that, I mean, honestly, what I'm trying to do at this point, it's like, all right, what do I add to this guy to get to what I thought this guy was going to be? Because that's what he was supposed to be in my roster. Okay. You know, how do I get there? You know, does it mean, do I have to add a first to Marvin Harrison to get, I'm trying to think of a wide receiver just because the big ones are really disappointing so far this year, like AJ Brown, Chase, Jefferson, Lamb. You've already talked about it. So whoever, like, what do I need to add to Marvin Harrison to get, I don't know, Rome Odunze, who's a guy that looks like he's what we hoped Marv Harrison would turn into, something like that. Now, that's not always feasible. Sometimes it could just be too much and you're like, it's not worth it.
So like, I'm trying to give an example where there would be some receiver ADV value. Would you do Devontae Smith for Keenan Allen in a third? Like you're just nuking all of the youth and I mean, we also know there's not a lot of dynasty value in Devontae Smith, right? Like he's not worth a first. So I'm offering you a better player in the short term and it's a third, but it's still something free. Like, is that, because that's, I think, the type of dynasty trade that gets people hung up, because when they have a guy like Smitty, they're like, I committed to just playing him every week. And they're fearful of building an entire roster out where you trade all of those guys and your roster is like, hey, it's Keenan Allen and it's Devontae Adams and it's Saquon and it's McCaffrey. You know what I mean? Like that looks great while it's cruising. But then when the season ends, you're going to go, my roster's dead. You know what I mean? I can't do anything. So where's that line?
So we're going to get into it as we look at our teams. But part of that is, what's my draft capital look like, right? And if I don't have to use draft capital to go get one of these players, if I don't have it to give up let's just say a first, I won't give up a first for Keenan Allen, but whatever. Let's just say I didn't have to use the first to do it and instead could use Devonta Smith in a second. I'm more likely to do a deal like that, knowing that I have extra draft capital. At least I have my own draft capital and maybe some more draft capital sitting in the back pocket, because I don't want to build a team of 6 wide receivers over the age of 30 and 4 running backs over the age of 26, because that's all going to crash down at one point. But do I have a Luther Burden sprinkled in? Do I have Mason Taylor sprinkled in? Do I have RJ Harvey's, which is looking like a future asset, definitely not a this year asset? Do I have things like that just kind of sitting on my roster that can be future assets that would hopefully as those guys age out, be able to take their roles over on my team?
So I think that if you prepared for this, then you will have extra picks to throw around. That's the whole reason why you accumulate picks. So basically, you can fix stuff week to week as things go differently than what you thought they were going to go, right? But what if you don't have that, Shane? What if you have your first, but you've already traded your second, you have your third, and that's it. And it's 12 by 10. So the only bullet you have to shoot is your first. And you don't want to spend it on, you don't want to trade Marv and a first for Rome Odunze. You may want to do it, but that's not the type of trade you want to do, not because of the player versus the player, but because the first is your only mulligan you get all year. You don't have a second. You already spent it on some dumb trade in the offseason to get into the rookie draft. You had to draft a guy at 302, and it was Kyle Williams. So now you have him on the back of your roster. Like you have one of those teams where, and I have a few where, sure, I would love to go in and start fixing my mistakes, and I'm not scared to pivot off of a guy like Devontae Smith for a little gross current production. But what if I just don't have that flexibility? Because then you see people starting to trade their 27 second, and then their 28 third, and their 27 third, and then, okay, yeah, that works now, but then next year you're going to be in the same boat. You know what I mean? Like, what if you don't have that extra stuff? What do you do?
Well, then you're just screwed. You're pot committed to winning right now. So you need to do, so that's where I guess you would take it. Would you just take a haircut there and go, you know what? I don't have draft capital either way. Devonta Smith isn't really a long-term asset either way. It's not like I can rebuild through him, right? Just if I have a bunch of hims, I'm not going to be able to move hims, a bunch of Devonta Smiths for future first. Like I'd like to, I'd like to, but I'm not going to be able to, right? Like it's not going to be like at the end of this year, I could trade 7 Devonta Smiths and get 8 first back. Like I can't do that. So you got to make the determination then. Like, do I just go in and pot commit it? Because I'm already pot committed. My draft picks are gone. So do I just move the youth that is on my team for production now and just hope that I win? I don't know. I have problems with that because I usually, maybe I'm too simplistic, try to go the other way and go, you know what can I get for all these old people?
Yeah, I think that's where kind of the fight or flight decision comes into play, because I am more willing to hang tough. And I have one of those rosters that I'm going to show you. Probably doesn't deserve to be a playoff team. But the reason I'm not willing to further punt, unless it's just an obvious trade, is because of the assets that I've accumulated. If I had the same team, but I had already traded my second, I don't have any extra picks, I'm probably more focusing on building out my foundation for next year than I am trying to find guys to upgrade or find points to plug in the gaps right now. So I think it does matter. Like what I don't want to do, and people do this all the time, because what do they say? I thought of your old boy, Michael Sipes. Oh, I can always get that 27 second back, but you never will. You're going to play the way to where every year you're just going to keep making the same trades over and over and over. You know what I mean? It has to be a concerted effort to go and retool the team and actually add plus assets, not just the picks that you're given every year, but be willing to start stockpiling assets. Normally to do that, you have to give up something. And if you're already sitting there staring at that 20, I saw it in a league today. Guy had already traded his 27 and 26 picks. That's a higher dollar league, so he needed to fix some things on his roster, but he already traded his 28 second, Shane. We're already dipping into 28. Just to fix, like, it's not even to fix a huge problem. It's just to fix like a small issue where a guy's going to miss a month, and now you have to backfill the wide receiver 2 that you lost with another one. You know what I mean? Like, and it's an expensive fix to do that in week 4, 2 years out, when you have very little flexibility already on your roster. That's where you get into trouble. That's where you get these teams and you go, how did it ever get this bad? So I don't know if you have any other thoughts, but we'll get to some teams. Anything else? Any comments you want to put up? You're muted. Come on, rookie.
I'm not muted. Well, as we know, I'm using a different mic and it's not very good. So I got to mute every time I stop talking. So I mean, some of these are player takes. We can get there in a little bit.
Yeah, this ain't the player take show, and this isn't the trade show. I see some people with some trade questions. Get those on Dynasty Deal Show. Trade and chill tier, $3.99 a month every Friday. We literally answer like 25 trades. We're starting to get to the point where we can't even fit them all in, but we do give some player takes on that too, just because we're in the context of the trade itself, you do have to have some player takes. But
yeah, I'm fine. There's some player takes like, do you want to give up or not? And we'll get there. But yeah, went from 0-4 to 2-4, and it felt like it saved my season, right? That one win, especially in week 3, that week 3, because it's just like, a playoff series. It's a lot different being down 2-1 as opposed to being down 3-0. So yeah. So no, I think we're ready to start tackling some teams now.
All right. Well, we're going to switch the overlay here. There we go. All right. So I'm going to go to one of mine first, and this is we'll kind of go through it like we do on a roster review. We'll pull up the team. We'll look at the format. So this is a 14 team Superflex. And as you can see, I have the most assets. So the first thing you can look at is who has the most assets, right? I have the most assets in the league. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I have a good team. It doesn't mean that I'm a contender. It just means that I have the most assets. So you go down here. It's a 14 by 11. It's got a lot of bench spots. It's got a taxi squad. So like there's not a ton on waivers. There's no backup quarterbacks on waivers. Wait till you see my roster, Shane. That's where they're all at. There they are. Look at that hefty quarterback room. But like, here's the team. I'm 4-2. This is one where you play the median every week. As you can see, I mean, I have Derrick Henry because I just haven't traded him. He's one of the last pieces that I haven't moved. I was down Joe Burrow, but I'm riding Caleb Williams and CJ Stroud, and I have a couple other quarterback options too. Like I have Rattler. Nobody's willing to give me a second for Rattler, even in a 14-teamer. I've spammed it. So I'm probably stuck. And then I have Trey McBride, and you can see my receiver room. I'm starting Keenan Allen. I'm starting Christian Kirk. I'm starting Hollywood Brown. I'm starting Zay Flowers, George Pickens. And my running backs are like Rico Dowdles, who I started this week. So, like, I've thinned this roster down. But where do you think this team shows up in the playoff simulator? As you can see, record-wise, I am technically in 5th place at 4-2 with 4 teams at 3-3 and 2 more at 2-4. So basically there's 11 teams.
Bring your team back up for me. I'm usually pretty bad. I'm pretty good at these. Joe Burrow. Okay. So it's Caleb Williams and CJ Stroud.
And I have the Burrow asset that I could fire if I wanted, but it's a 14-teamer. So I just haven't got the right offer yet.
I am going to go with a 30% playoff chance, and that might be a little aggressive.
Okay, let's see. Playoff calculator, and it is a 6 teams make it here. So even though it's 14 teams, only 6 make it. Make playoffs. So obviously there's 5 teams that are in the 80s. One of them is not me. And then here I am. One of 3 teams probably fighting for that last spot. 38, 29, 27% chance of making it. So let's just call me exactly what I said before. I think I said my team's like 8th place. But like, what would you do with a team like this? Because I've sold a lot of stuff. I've sold probably 4 or 5 starters. I had Travis Etienne. I had Michael Penix. I had Marvin Harrison. I had Jordan Addison. I had Jawan Johnson. Sold all of those guys. So I've thinned out my starters for the sake of getting more picks. I have an extra first, 2 extra seconds, or 2 extra first, 2 extra seconds, an extra first in 2027 as well. And then a bunch of extra thirds and fourths, etc. So I have a lot of capital that I can throw around. But like, this lineup's pretty thin. You know what I mean? When I lose like Aaron Jones and Jatavian Sanders, that's hurting my flexes. So, I mean, what do you do here?
Yeah, so that's the thing, right?
I can't go to the bottom, but I have assets. I can patchwork.
There's that, right? So this is one of those teams where, can I get 2 starters for a first? And do I have the stomach for it? You know what I mean? Do I have the stomach to trade for, and it wouldn't make sense on this roster, but do I have the stomach to trade for Javonte Williams and David Njoku and give up?
Let's go down here.
2 seconds.
Your old buddy, Dynasty Madman, and Ian Hartitz.
That's a weird combination.
They're the co-managers in this league. So
that's
Ian
a
Hartitz
very weird combo.
Madman.
Yeah.
They're 0-6. They are starting Jake Browning. Their team is not very impressive. But do you even see 2 starters you would want to trade for here? And I'm guessing they will not give up Jonathan Taylor, Emeka Egbuka, or Alad McConkey.
So you're looking at Cam Scatterboo and Travis Kelce. No.
Sure.
No.
And I don't need a quarterback, right? So that,
No.
someone like Daniel Jones doesn't help here. So unless they're willing to give me Taylor, Igbuka, or Ladd, which I'm guessing all of those guys would cost more than a first, which you would agree at, my team should not be buying like Jonathan Taylor, right? If I have to give up like 2 firsts.
What do I have to give up for Emeka? Emeka would be one of the players I would buy, only because if it doesn't work out, whatever, I still have the wide receiver 7 on my roster.
Now, would it be real aggressive to offer like 3 firsts and a second for Igbuka and Jonathan Taylor? 3 firsts and 3 seconds and just see if they're willing to go all in? Would you do that on a team like this? Is that enough?
I have Emeka, Ladd.
No, that's not my team. It's right here.
I
would add JT and
so you'd
Emeka
have 2 running
backs
team. And 3 wide receivers.
I mean, it is a start 11, so guys like Christian Kirk and Keenan Allen are, they're playable.
Yeah. What can I move Joe Burrow for? So let's go to one of the other trash.
The other chip.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Madman and Hardage should want a quarterback, right? They're starting Jake Browning as their 2.
Here's the other problem, though, right? And this happens in a lot of leagues, and I've been running into it all week where I'm like, I just need 2 players, and here's a really good offer, but no one will take it, or no one's dealing in this league right now because everyone's of the same mindset. I'm not out of it yet, but that team's clearly out of it. So what's the next team?
This is this team. They are 0-6. Now, they may or may not need a quarterback. They might think they need a quarterback, but I don't want to take one of their quarterbacks back.
Joe Burrow.
They do have Jamar Chase, so they may be interested in, adding Burrow.
I'll give up Joe Burrow. Let's see. And I'm just talking out loud here. And this is how my brain works when I'm sending out offers. I start clicking buttons and going, I don't know.
Joe Burrow. Judkins and AJ Brown for Joe Burrow.
That's literally what was in my head. And I'm thinking,
because those are the only 2 players on the team you would even want.
Because that's Trevor. That's the wrong ETN. I mean, I wouldn't mind DK Metcalf and Alec Manor. So would I do Joe Burrow in a second for AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, and Quinshon Judkins? Is that enough? Because there you got 3 starters. You just beefed up your wide receiver room really good, and you beefed up your running back room. Now, if I could do that for Joe Burrow, then I have the draft capital that I'm already 4-2. Whatever. I'm at least, I can wait out a couple more losses. You know what I mean? Better than some other teams could. Teams that are obviously 1-3. Is that how math works? 4-2? Nope, 6. 1-5 or 2-4, right? I could wait out a couple losses and hope that I could then buy from them. So I think I'd be okay with that if I could pull that first deal off.
Yeah, I think there's trade potential with both of those teams. I probably just need to send the offer. I wasn't even thinking of sending that type of offer, but I mean, especially Madman and Harditz, they have Daniel Jones and no other quarterbacks. And then this team has Jamar Chase. So they may be interested in getting Burrow for later because they're already 0-6.
Because this deal, it makes sense, this type of deal, because it's a win now move for you, right? And and Joe Burrow serves no purpose on your roster when you're trying to win right now. But
and I have 3 firsts and 2 young quarterbacks. So it's like I want to keep him, but it is a team where you could justify trading him away even in a 14-teamer because I have ways to backfill quarterback pretty easily. So,
and you'd be getting wide receivers that aren't extremely old. They're older for wide receivers, and then a young running back. So I would love a deal like that. And then I can do whatever I want. Like, is that good enough to get me by at that point? Or, again, I have the draft capital. If I need to buy more, let's go to some more of the loser ass teams and try to buy from them.
Yeah, and I think if I send a couple seconds and a third in those deals, I still feel insulated because I have all those firsts. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like if I can use Burrow that way, I think I'd be willing to try that. So I'm going to send those out.
If you could pull that off, then I would go to the Jonathan Taylor, Emeka Egbuka guy and go, here's 2 firsts and 2 seconds. I would try that and just see.
Yeah, I like that. All right. Well, I think I'm going to push in there. It's time to fight. We're fighting back against the man in that league. All right, let's go to yours. So let's pull up Shane here. Dynasty Daddy. Which one do you want to look at first?
What 3 did I put in there? Let me look at our private chat. So this one's fun for me because it has no business trying to push in. So it's going to be Blitz Brigade, but every part of me wants to push in.
Okay, let me get this reset. All right, how do I log out of the? They have this new thing where you can't log out of your.
Do without account.
There we go. You're right. Okay,
Yep.
so
And then username
Shane says. All right, Blitz Brigade. That's the one we're looking at first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's the format in this one?
Is this start 14? This might be a normal. I think this is just a normal 12x10 super flex.
It's a normie league.
Yeah,
12 by 11.
12 by 11.
26-man rosters. Lineup league, I assume, right?
Yep. Scoring is pretty basic. 0.2 rushing attempts. So PPC is pretty heavy, I guess. Pretty heavy.
So you're 2-4, but you are, man, there's a bunch of teams ahead of you. You're actually in like 10th place.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
9th place.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's a couple bad teams below you. So it's like a 9-man league, basically, and you're the last right now.
Right. And there's a few reasons. I mean, like, again, this is, my brain says, okay, this ain't happening this year, and you have 3 firsts next year and 2 seconds. And
how many teams make the playoffs?
6.
I mean, dude, look at this. It looks like the top 5 are just as locked gets.
Yeah,
you're fighting for one spot.
It appears that way right now. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yes, I can look at it and go, well, I have 3 firsts, 3 seconds next year, and I still have some young assets, right? I have Luther Burden, Mason Taylor. I've got George Kittle on this roster. Oh, George Kittle. That's what hurt me. I got a couple guys that are injured right now. Terry McLaurin, Jackson Dart. So this is a team in all, what's the word I'm looking for? In all, if I'm being honest with myself, I should try
honesty.
Yeah, there you go. All honesty. I should probably just be like, yeah, let me push out. But instead, I'm not doing that. I'm sending out offers to the dude below me, trying to get Brian Thomas and Emeka Ibuka off of him. He's ignoring me, but maybe he'll respond to me one day.
Is that
check my trade? Yeah.
Is that I mean, obviously, what you're trying to buy are some dynasty assets as well. So you feel okay trading away the picks if you do that. But is that more of you're trying to just retool the team, or do you think like those 2 assets will put you in a position where you're definitely contending if you get those 2 pieces?
Yeah,
it is a 12 by 11, and I mean your running backs looks like they can probably survive for a little bit, especially if Harvey becomes useful.
No, there's Harvey. Yeah. And that's my thought is if I get those 2 on the roster, then I can push for the playoffs. When George Kittle comes back from his whatever's wrong with him this time, cool. And if I can hold out long enough for other people's breaks to go the other way, I still have players I can move like Luther Burden or RJ Harvey. Hopefully he'll be popping at that point, or future picks.
Are you able to, I mean, you have Jackson Dart and Aaron Rodgers. Is there any market for any of the crappy quarterbacks?
And there's the fun part, right? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starters, and I couldn't trade one of them if my life depended on it.
You couldn't trade Kyler Murray?
No, absolutely not. So this is one of those leagues where I go in and I look on Sleeper and I look at the, and as we go through this, the situation's becoming clear. The trade history that I go through, there's literally like 3 pages of scrolling of me sending offers.
I mean, this is the worst QB room, and they're a contender, and they're just rolling Goff and Darnold, and they're doing it happily every week, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's rough, man. This seems to be, even this team wouldn't take on. I guess that this team is 1-5. They lost Brock Purdy. Did they just a tank team, I guess?
Let me go and look at that team.
I mean, it's got all rookies and young players other than Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
Jalen Warren.
But then they don't have any draft capital, which is weird. I mean, but they have a bunch of young players now. So, yeah. But, and then you look at my roster. Part of why I have to push in, though, is because I do have Keenan Allen, Ken Walker. There was another old guy on here.
Derrick Henry,
Tony Pollard, George Kittle, So, and then Terry McLaurin, who I traded for, and then immediately decided that he doesn't like, he's going to have core surgery and end me there.
Yeah. I mean,
So it's almost like it's almost like I don't even have a choice. You know what I mean? I do have a choice. I could just eat it.
But I think you probably cannot go low enough, given that there's 3 teams clearly worse than you and the league isn't active for you to be able to kind of move some of the stuff you want to move.
Right.
But do you have to make the BTJ Igbokwe type deal? Or can you just buy short-term shit? And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, that's kind of what I would do with this team. I hate blowing the one piece of leverage I have, if you don't count the quarterbacks, because it doesn't sound like you can move the quarterbacks. It feels like it's those draft picks. I don't want to convert them for 2 players at this point.
No. So, there was one deal that I was going to modify it a little bit, right? Someone from our Dynasty, our chat, offered me David Njoku, Hollywood Brown, and Javonte Williams for RJ Harvey and Luther Burden. I'm not giving up RJ Harvey and Luther Burden in that deal. I thought about going, I'll give you RJ Harvey, Jaden Reed for David Njoku, Javonte Williams, and who was the wide receiver I'd rather have? And the wide receiver being Wan'Dale Robinson. And I also sent it. Almost sent it a couple times. But then in the back of my mind, I go, how am I going to feel about this in week 9 when RJ Harvey has taken over that backfield?
That's the thing, is I don't want to make the move like you were saying I should make in the other league, where I can give up one asset, like a good asset, for pieces. Like, it feels like if you're telling me, and here's where I think you have to know your league. This is kind of advice for everybody out there that might be in a similar situation. You're telling me you can't move a quarterback, right? You're also telling me that it's going to be hard for you to kind of tank in this league because of where everybody else has positioned their team. That tells me that you should then go be able to buy the players that are kind of stuck on other people's rosters and not have to give up RJ Harvey. You know what I mean? Like, you should be able to find, and I'm thinking mostly like receivers or tight ends, but I'm looking at like this team. Is this team trying to contend? The team that will not buy a quarterback, right? This roster right here, you're saying they will not buy a quarterback. Why won't they move Darnell Mooney or Cortland Sutton? You know what I mean?
Yeah, BMO. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's, and that's, I'll admit right now, that's one of my problems, is always thinking too big sometimes. It's the little, like, a Darnell Mooney, like, do I really want to trade for Darnell Mooney? Well, probably.
No, but
12 by 11.
I'd give you a second and Jaden Reed for Cortland Sutton and Jalen Warren.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't this team do that?
Maybe, but they could be of the same mind as me, going, "Hey, I'm all I
but
need."
Then
is
if they're of the same
right.
mind of you, then they'll trade for Spencer Rattler or Joe Flacco because they don't have a quarterback. That's where I think you have to really test people on both sides of the equation. You're telling me you don't care about your QB2. And you don't, because I've had people tell me I don't want to give up any picks. I don't know what I'm doing with my team. But then in the same token, you offer them a pick and an injured player for Cortland Sutton and Jalen Warren, and they can't move them. You know what I mean? So, like, what is their goal? Because you're not going to get to the bottom of the league when you have those types of players littered on your roster. But at the same time, like, they're just stuck. They're not willing to take a stance. And I think if you can find a team like this to just give you have a couple weeks where you can just play the week-to-week game, Shane. You have enough picks that you don't even have to give up your first or your RJ Harveys. You can just trade injured players, seconds, and thirds, and just see if in week 8 you're still alive.
And that's my thought. And that
week 8, you might be 6-10, and you go, you know what? It's over for. You know what I mean? But yeah, you got to find those managers.
And the luxury with that, though, is, all right, well, I have 3 firsts and 3 seconds to fall back on. So I'm going to be all right. You know what I mean? But it does, like, having that much capital, that much firepower, it hurts me not to be able to just shoot that gun off.
Yep. All right. What's your other one? We'll do one of yours, and then we'll do my second one.
Let's do, what did I say? Here you go. This is a perfectly exactly in the middle team. It's another median team? MD 20.
Okay, D20. Got it. All right.
Now this team, unlike that one, there's really no capital to be had here. Draft capital.
So you are 3-3. You have you have 3 firsts, but that's it, and they're just the next 3 years.
No,
So
yeah.
You've already shot your a tiny move here, a tiny move there, right?
Yep. Did all those here. I'll give you a second, or I'll give you this in a second for such and such in a player. Yep.
Let's see where you sim on this one. So currently you're 3-3. Okay, well, this one gives you a 72% chance to make it, which is 4th best in the league, or 5th best in the league. 2 other teams, 63 and 54. And so effectively, this is probably like an 8-team race. And you're in the non-buy range. So you definitely should probably push in to a degree, but what's the hang up here? Is it just you have nothing to spend but firsts?
Yeah, it's what do I use? I mean, you can already see I've already clearly paid for next year, because that's not me. I'm not eagle-eyed fully. So that's the only move I have. That's the only bullet I have, really, unless I find a way to again move Sam Darnold or Brock Purdy. I can't even move Jake Browning in this league, but again, it's weak. You would have hoped with all the injuries, I would have been able to move Jake Browning, but I haven't been able to. Only other things I can do really is split Devon Chain, which I have what's the word I'm looking for? No appetite for. This almost
I think you got to
feels
try
like
to move Brock Purdy and just rely on Sam Darnold and Jake Browning the rest of the way, because you have Jalen Hurts hopefully giving you, top 8 numbers or better every week. Like, I think that's the move. It's just it's either Brock Purdy or start dipping into your first. And I don't love dipping into your first right now with a team that has some older starters. Let's see, would anyone trade for Brock Purdy? Like, and you don't want a quarterback back.
No.
That's the thing. Like, I don't want Trevor Lawrence back in the deal. I want just pure skill players,
Yeah. That's the problem. Like, again, quarterback, and that's what I'm learning this year. Quarterbacks are really not a liquid asset as much as they used to be.
They're a liquid asset when there's demand for the quarterback. When there's not, like Brock Purdy, he was injured, so like nobody cared. They'll just put in somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But like, look at this team. This is one of the teams that has a lower tier quarterback room, and they probably would be willing to send some players away. But like, they have Jackson Dart, JJ McCarthy, and Michael Penix, and so like they're probably not trying to trade their Marvin Harrison for Brock Purdy. You know what I mean? No, like they're not interested in that type of deal. So they're out. Let's see. The scary thing is all the other teams with the worst QB room, Shane, are all contenders.
Yeah. So I need something bad to happen to them.
Like Baypad.
Yeah.
Baypad's 2-4. Bad. He's got Baker, but he's probably like, I'll just start Joe Flacco.
He's like, I got Mac Jones for 2 weeks. Like he's blessed. He's got Joe Flacco. You don't want to be starting Joe Flacco, but I need Justin Fields to stay out, and I need Brock Purdy to come back, and then I can threaten him with Brock Purdy.
Well, the key is they'd rather start Joe Flacco than give you James Cook for Brock Purdy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it isn't that they don't want Brock Purdy. It's just if they were to trade away one of their this team, frankly, is not a contender, most likely. I mean, it's pretty weak, but like if this team had one more good player
last year, by the way,
this team was.
Yeah, there's been some movement on that roster, but yeah.
Well, but I mean, look at the players they had that were great last year. You know what I mean? Like I'm just saying for right now, I wouldn't look at this team and say it's a favorite to win. But even if this team thought they were contending, I probably wouldn't look at this roster and say the one move I should make is trade away James Cook for a quarterback 2. You know what I mean? It's like I'll just roll with the scrappy QBs, and if they're gone, then I'll figure it out. But I'm just not going to put high skill player production into quarterback. Jackson Tribe says, look at his team. Is he in this league?
Yes, he is. There's a couple people. Well, it's a DD league. That was formed out of that. So.
Well, maybe he'll buy your Brock Purdy. He's 1-5.
Okay.
I'll look at his roster.
I like. Let's see. I like Ladd McConkey. I like Jamar Chase. I don't think I'm getting Jamar Chase for Brock Purdy.
You like Trey Benson?
Trey Benson's fine. Yeah.
Would you trade Brock Purdy for 2 starters?
One of them being Trey Benson. Who's the other?
Well, Ladd McConkey and Ladd McConkey and Trey Benson. And what do you have to add to Brock Purdy to get that done?
I don't know, Jackson. What do I need to get that done? You're in.
Would you add? Would you add? How good? What does this first look like? This Eagle Eye Foley first.
No idea.
That's a pretty good team. Yeah. Would you add that first to Brock Purdy to get Ladd and Trey Benson? Or is that too much?
No. You know what? I think I would do that. Maybe
you can get I don't know, something thrown back. Maybe you get like Spencer Rattler thrown back just to add to your
I would
dog pile of QBs.
Because I do need to protect myself at the QB. I'd be down at 3, and all of a sudden I'm a guy that likes to collect QBs.
I mean, that Rattler fits perfectly with your build. You get Rattler, McConkey, and Benson, and you give up Brock Purdy in a first, and that is a good deal for a team in Jackson Tribe's position, right? Because he's 1-5. He's already lost Burrow. Like, that team actually helps him get to the bottom and gives him an extra first and probably helps him build out his quarterback room for next year. Now he can probably move Geno Smith. He can move Chris Godwin when he comes back, Jawan Jennings when he comes back. Like, he can just start gutting this team and build out a nice shell for next year. There we go. Look at that. Helps be in leagues with people that watch the show.
So, it's funny though, is he just mentioned it. He just traded for them today.
Well, I mean,
but it's funny because you could use the same assets, but not be able to make the same deal with a different team because the mindset is different.
Their team had to be in the right position where they see the reasoning behind you wanting to make that type of deal. And what often happens, and this is kind of a lesson for people in here that haven't played for a long time, is people get hung up on their personal takes and evaluations. And that's where a lot of deals can get broken up. Like you were really not convicted on any of those players in that deal, right? Like, you like Brock Purdy, you like Ladd, like you can see a path for all the assets, but you weren't stuck on them and saying like, well, I don't have to do this deal, so I'm just going to hold out because I just don't love it. And a lot of people do that. I just can't do it. They don't see the bigger strategy when they make a deal like that. Jackson Tribe does. Like, he probably sees how to take his team in the right direction after he makes that deal. And he can't. It's not like he can't get over having to give up Ladd McConkey.
No. And he made that determination and threw it out there. Like, hey, everyone's on the block. Every older player, but anyone over the age of, I think he said 26. I think so.
All right. So here's one of mine. My second one. Overall assets. I am in 5th place. Nothing special.
Okay.
Record wise, I am in 7th place. And it is a 12 by 13, 32-man rosters. It is a start 2 tight end. It is a point per carry. And it is a small Devy league. So it's like 12 Devies. So like the picks are a little less valuable, but really the Devies are just assets. And as you can see, I think there's 3 teams in this league that are woefully bad. Yeah. Like just basically not even trying. So it's really a 9-man league. There's no way I can get to the bottom. Now, here's the one silver lining on this league, Shane. You have to play for the 101, which I know you hate that. So you actually want to be like, if you're like, truthfully, you almost want to be the last team out of the playoffs rather than the one team that gets in the last spot and then gets crushed. If you're the 7th best team, then you win the 101, which is usually better than being the last team in the playoffs. But anyway, here I am. Where does my team sit, Shane?
Was that 6?
Look at those playoff odds. 99, 99, 99, 99, 96. And then me and Brandon.
I mean,
Brandon is a great tanker.
You are significantly above Brandon. You have a stranglehold on the 6th seed.
But I'm in the shit spot. The 6th seed is where my half-ass team gets murdered by any of these teams.
In theory, right? In theory.
In theory.
Yeah.
Here's my
I've come around to the mindset of making the playoff because all I need is my players to get hot and I can win. And we've seen it repeatedly. So this is your
my
team.
roster. It looks a lot like the one you just had where I have Joe Flacco, Sam Darnold. I have a bunch of the backup quarterbacks that I haven't been able to use. And I also have Brock Purdy, who's injured. I started, I think I did start Marcus Mariota over this week. So I did actually benefit from the backup quarterback substitutions. But I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like, I'm just hanging on by a thread. And I'm being carried by Josh Allen, James Cook, and, some of the guys that have produced here and there. Like, I was forced to start Keon Coleman in week 1. I was forced to start Wan'Dale Robinson in his first 2 weeks. I was forced to start Jalen Warren every week. So I have captured some good points, but here we are. And I have my first. So I am positioned to do that. I could play for that 101. So what do you do? It's a tough one for me.
Well, have you thought about trying to trade Brock Purdy in a first for
Let's see if there's any quarterback. Jackson Tribe's not in this league, but let's see if there's any quarterback needy team. I mean, do you notice a theme here, Shane? When I sort by quarterback rooms, there's clearly this team that just doesn't care about quarterback, really.
Right.
But then the next 4 teams are all the best 4 teams in the league. Let's take a look at their QB rooms. Dak, Rodgers, Stafford, Caleb, Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield, Russell Wilson.
So that Caleb Bryce Young one might be willing to move. Although they're 6-0, so they also could be like, I've survived this.
And look at his skill players: Neighbors, JSN, BTJ, Rome, Garrett Wilson, Marv, Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnston is his wide receiver 8.
3, 4,
Never's
5,
played him
6,
one time.
7,
Bijan, Gibbs,
9,
Brees.
10, 11, 12. Yeah, they don't even need to start Bryce Young.
This team has been tanking for 3 years, and they finally put it all together this year. The problem, though, and it's not necessarily me, nobody in this league will trade. And do you know why this team's doing well? Because it's a start 13. So he just has absurd skill player depth. Nobody in the league will trade him an elite quarterback. None. Because if you give him like Lamar Jackson, the league's cooked. You know what I mean? So they're just like, the one weakness he has is basically elite quarterback. So do not, and I'll be honest, he sent me a couple offers before for like Josh Allen. He wants to give me all of his non-top 10 skill players in the deal. So it's like, you're just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So besides this team, next team, you don't need good quarterbacks here, Shane. There's teams just starting Bryce Young and Sam Darnold and Geno Smith and Russell Wilson, and they're totally fine. Don't care.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of stuck. And I'm like you, I don't have any other picks. I have a 4th.
And what does
auto
save?
An extra 3rd next year.
Let's see. What does auto saves have? Like, this is one of those where we might have nothing to give but our pick. But the problem is I mean, it is start 13. Cam Scatterbo and Devonta Smith for a first. Now it would be the 107, right? Let's just assume you make it as the 6th seed, because that wouldn't be enough. And that's the other problem. Any move you make, is it going to move you up to the 5 seed, the 4 seed?
No, dude, all those teams were a tier above me. And the problem is Brandon has already positioned himself, who is the one team that can kind of fight me for that last playoff spot. He's kind of already positioned himself to be the non-contender. But he just has too many players that he's staying afloat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like he should be giving you Chris Olave, Javonte Williams for a first.
Well, you know what? I'm just thinking about this now that I think about it. You know who should just trade? Me or Brandon. We should just trade with each other. One commits to going for it, and the other agrees to be out. You know what I mean?
Yep. Like
that's probably the answer.
It's the opposite of the mutual destruction pact, right? We know we both can't survive this, so one of us is just going to step away and let the other do what they do, and we'll benefit by taking whatever assets, whichever way we decide to go.
Yeah, that's probably I'm gonna have to hit Brandon up and see if we can get a deal done. All right, we have a little time for one more. Let's go to your third. What do you got?
What were we on? Oh, addiction. Yeah, I found some teams like right in the middle. The only one that wasn't was Blitz Brigade, but that was just I needed someone that talked me out of doing things.
Oh, cut out for a second. Okay, so addiction. You are 2-1. You are in a what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hit 2-1.
Yeah.
Asset rank. Right. You are 9th in asset rank. So I'm guessing you probably traded at least a pick. No, you actually have an extra first. So okay, you're middle of the pack in asset rank. Okay. Playoff calculator. Let's see where you rank here. This got you comfortably in the playoffs, Shane. 81%. Yeah. So I think you're
So I need to move this first. I don't need to do anything, but
12 by 11, 22-man rosters. I mean, what is your move here? Like, what's been the bane of this team thus far?
Just it doesn't feel like it's ready to actually win. Like I look at this roster and I go, I don't think this can actually win. Although the running backs are pretty good.
I mean, as long as you're starting all of these guys, then I mean, you probably smashed this week. Jordan Mason, David Montgomery.
It was a good week. It was a good week.
Yeah,
it was
AJ Brown.
Yeah. So this might, and this is another thing. There's some teams you just feel like you need to do something with, and you don't know what, and you're not even sure if you should.
I mean, Cam Ward. What could you move for? You have an extra first, and you have Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Like what can you do?
That's where I go, right? So anytime I have an extra first in my pocket, it hurts my soul because it's wasted points to me, basically. When I'm in a competing roster, it's wasted points. Having that extra first and not being able to move it. The same with Cam Ward. I hate having a player on my roster like that. That look, I love Cam Ward, you know that. But it feels like I should be able to move these guys. I should move these guys and get something. But the problem with this is you see this dude is tanked very well. His team is awful. There's nothing left to buy from him. That would help me.
He's tanked so well that he actually has nothing to offer anybody else in the league. And the only thing he probably wants is extreme insulated young guys or picks. But like you said, like what does he literally what does he have to give? Nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That's where you've taken a rebuild probably too far. But I mean, Wolf, he's got 527 first. Like it's a fun grind, but that's probably the type of team where that you just don't got to do anything for 2 years really, other than grind your roster spots and trade guys that you can move whenever it comes up. Like, can you trade Kenneth Gainwell a week where he starts? Like, that's it. Nothing else you can do.
Yep. So nothing
what about
to buy
this team?
From that, dude.
See that this team has Stroud and Herbert. It's like they probably don't feel like they have a quarterback problem, not to where they would want to buy Cam Ward,
Yeah. They should because they have CJ Stroud, but that's another story.
I mean, Penix, Dak, and Tua. Maybe that's the theme. Maybe we don't even go any further, Shane. That's the theme thus far through 3 weeks. Let me get us back on the normal screen.
There's
not a quarterback demand. When your quarterback's not smashing, nobody is chasing the faux dynasty values, CJ Stroud or Cam Ward. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody wants to add that unless it is just the fit is perfect, like it was with Jackson Tribe. Like no middling team that's trying to win is like, dude, let me give you a starting top 12 receiver for CJ Stroud. It just doesn't work that way. There's no demand for that. Something to learn. So we're at 9. Any other comments? Final thoughts? This was fun.
No, this was fun. It's always fun going through this, and I think it's funny. me and you both staring at our own particular leagues and not being able to think of a move, and then the other one looking at it and immediately going, dude, this deal. Like, it's just obvious to both of us. You know what I mean? In different ways, which I think is pretty funny.
I have 2 leagues now where I can actually leave and try to do something tonight with these teams that I probably would not have found on my own.
Yeah. And then just,
we weren't capable of getting there. It's just sometimes it does take a second set of eyes to go, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then just Diaz's point, very fortunate to have people in the league that recognize the directional trades. Once you have managers in the league that know the market is live, and that is part of it, right? People just need to be honest with themselves, and then that's when deals start getting made.
Yeah, very, very well said, Diaz. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate all the members and folks on YouTube that tuned in. Everybody on X. We did stream this on X tonight, so everybody that was there, thank you. Like and subscribe. Dynasty Deal Show Friday nights. Trinity Tuesday shows. You get that early if you are a member on Mondays with Ray and I. So those are the perks of joining as a YouTube member on Trade and Chill, $3.99 a month. And reminder, if you want to have your roster reviewed potentially next week, next Wednesday, 8 o'clock, same channel, same show, we're doing a live roster review. So if you buy one, scan the QR code, ddfantasyfootball.com, and we'll pick one. We did 3 already. We probably should have saved those so we had more to draw from. But any between now and then, we'll see if we can get one live next week. But we will do one live regardless. So appreciate everybody. Shane, have a good night. Enjoy week 4. See everybody in the Discord. Later.